Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 24th of February. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, this is, actually, you can see it from this chart here. This is basically 3 months of moving sideways. Very well expressed on this chart here. The question is, are we topping or not? If we're topping, this is a head and shoulders. This would be the head and shoulder neckline, and we'd be heading down towards the head and shoulder neckline, which is currently in about the 67.40 area. If we're not, then this is a bull flag setting up a retest of the high, which, of course, in fairness, we have already seen. So this was a nice looking little double top. We've got a larger, that's already broken down. We've got a larger head and shoulders, which has formed and is not broken down yet. Really, it's going to be one or the other. We shall see. On NQ, pretty decent looking double top here already. Didn't quite do the high retest on NQ, which I'd like to see in the short term. ES and NQ, of course, both have double bottoms which are broken up and are in the process of maybe failing. If it's going to fail, then we'll get back to this low here on ES, which is in about the 67.90 area, and we'll get back to this low here on NQ, which is in about the 23.45 area. We will see. But at the moment, if these are not double bottoms, they're kind of looking like bear flags. So RTY, we have what looks like a bullish triangle forming. On YM, this looks like a bull flag at the moment. On DAX, pretty close to a retest of the high. We'll come to the daily middle bands in a couple of minutes, but ESTX has already retested the high. Potential topping action here, nothing particularly clear, not an obvious double top. On Nikkei, this doesn't look like head and shoulders. This looks like a bull flag setting up a retest of this high. We shall see whether we get it. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And okay, looking at ES, obviously we went back, tested the daily middle band. That's held as resistance. Below us, we've got the daily lower band, of course, and we've got the 200 DMA, which I've got at 66. Is that 200 DMA? No, that's 50 DMA. No, that's not 50 DMA either. What is that? Is that the daily lower band? It is. Okay, so we're pretty close to the daily lower band, which is at 6,800. We shall see. In terms of the SPX chart, pretty much the same. Daily middle band resistance remains at 69.08. We'll see. Obviously, this was a fail at the daily middle band and the 50 DMA. In terms of the head and shoulders, I've drawn the neckline for that in here, and it's nice. It's definitely nice. So the alternative read is that on here, I've drawn in the potential for a pretty close to a bear flag channel. Sorry, a bull flag channel. So it may be that we're going to do it from here. But the question is, can we break out of this area to the downside and sustain that break? We will see. In terms of the short-term divergences, we've still got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fix, and obviously that still hasn't made target. Looking at the Qs, again, we are looking weak. We didn't actually make it up to the test of the daily middle band and the 50 DMA. Watching the daily lower band in the 590 area and wondering if we will retest that low. At the moment, it's looking as though we might well. No divergence on the hourly chart, no divergence on the 15-minute chart. Obviously, in terms of a topping pattern here, we've got a pretty nice looking double top with support down here in about the 580 area. Looking at Dyer, we've now seen a break below the rising wedge support. Now, the overthrow at the high here was suggesting that we would go down to that trend line and we would break it. So this is what it is when it's broken, and we've seen obviously a break with some force below the daily middle band. That is actually some technical damage, and the break of rising support and the new rising wedge support is also technical damage. Do we have an obvious topping pattern here? Not really, but it wouldn't be hard to develop one. We've got a couple of decent looking, we can obviously retest the high and set up a double top. We've also got a couple of decent looking head and shoulder necklines, which I've got in about the 476/7 area and the 484 area. And I'm thinking that would be the obvious next target. We shall see. We don't have any hourly divergence, and we've got a bit of positive divergence on the RSI 14, but nothing particularly impressive. All right, let's have a look at IWM. Hang on. All right, IWM. Again, we've had a significant break below the daily middle band, and this is looking as though it may well deliver more downside. No divergence on the 60-minute. Do we have a topping pattern here? No, and we're not. There's no really obvious way of setting up a topping pattern here unless we go back and retest the high. We do have a possible head and shoulder neckline, which I'm watching down in the 246 area, but obviously that is still some considerable distance away. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we've got a little weak RSI 14 buy signal that has fixed. So, but it's not a great deal to across all of these, there's not really much to look at in terms of positive divergence. DAX still holding above the daily middle band, and Nikkei still holding well above the daily middle band. Neither of these is looking particularly weak, but all the US indices are now below the daily middle band, and waiting to see if they go much lower. We have got possible topping setups here. They're not ideal. I'd like to see more high retests, but they're sort of okay. But I think the non-US equities are holding up better, and that may well be the case all year. All right, let's have a look at DX. DX, we've still got a pretty nice looking rising wedge, which looks like a bear flag. Obvious next move would be a retest of the high here just above 98, set up a double top, and see if that can break us down from there. In terms of the other currencies, these are looking this could easily be a bull flag. That looks like a bull flag. Harder to say with Nikkei because obviously there's been a lot of political stuff and buying and selling of the attempts to keep the yen down. So we will see. We've got a USD CAD. Looks like a bear flag forming. Not a lot to say on Australian dollar, and this looks like a bull flag forming on NZ as well. Looking at ZB, looks like we are heading back up to a retest of the high. This bull flag has broken up. ZN has already retested that high. So we will see. 60-minute sell signal fixed and almost failed yesterday, but didn't quite. All right, looking at CL. CL is kicking around at the highs here, and it's hard to avoid the impression that we're waiting to see whether or not the US is going to launch a major attack on Iran, and that it is waiting to go up considerably if it does that. This is an inflection point area. We could easily go up from here. And it does look as though Trump may well be planning to attack Iran for reasons which aren't actually particularly clear, but we'll see. HO, we've got a possible little double top here. Possible weak 6-minute sell signals brewing. RBOB, possible little double top here. NG, we've retested the low here, and we've got a potential little double bottom here. No current positive divergence. The sell signal made target, but I am wondering about a rally. And we may well get one. GC, we had a 6-minute sell signal fixed last night. That's largely made target without actually moving a great deal. This still looks like an overall bear flag or an ABC. So I'm leaning towards seeing another move down. Looks like a bear flag on silver. Looks like a bearish triangle on palladium. Looks like a bear flag on platinum. And looks like a bearish triangle on HG, although I would note that we've got an IHS with a target here up in the 6.01 area, and we've got a trend line here up at about the 6.05 area. But looking at this as a bearish triangle, that would be A, B, C, D, E, would generally be a partial wave. So it's something which could fail anytime. But I'm leaning towards the downside here and a retest of this low here in about the 5.57 area. All right, let's have a look at KC. KC is retesting the lows, possible little bottoming setup here, not with a great deal of conviction. SB, we've actually seen a pretty decent rally here, and we made it all the way back up to the monthly pivot. Weak 6-minute sell signal is fixed. looks counter trend overall. CC is making a new low and has actually made it back below 3,000. We're now in an area which is more sort of the longer term area that this is typically traded in for this huge spike up to 12,000. I'm wondering if we'll find support here, but we could easily go lower first. CT, nice move up, has broken and looks as though it is converting the monthly pivot at the moment. We've got a lovely double bottom here that I've more or less given up hope of ever playing out, but that could deliver a move up into the 80s or 90s. Lumber still drifting sideways to down. This double bottom now has almost failed. We've almost made it back to 55350 area, which would fail the double bottom and likely get us back into the larger downtrend. ZW, nice move up. Looks like a little bullish consolidation at the moment. 60-minute sell signal is fixed on on corn. Looks like a bear flag forming. Soy, we've seen a nice move up here. We've got a potential level top here, and it is a very nice looking potential level top. Watching to see if that's going to deliver. We've got a possible level top set up here on soybean oil as well. Live cattle, possible topping action. Lean hogs, this looks like a bear flag for a retest this low, and that could make a low. And a almost 50% retracement of this rising channel. So we shall see. All right, let's have a quick look at question. What are the chances that gold and silver will go up further? In due course, I think very high. In the short term, I don't think particularly high, unless there's a crisis which leads to it being a flight safety destination. The joy of gold and silver, of course, is there's no counterparty. And that's one reason it's been doing very well over the last year. I don't think it's done to the upside. I don't think the bull market is over. But I am thinking that we've got a whole load of sell signals here, and we have come up a long way since we last had a bullish consolidation. I'm thinking we're going to do some sort of bullish consolidation here. And that would likely involve lower prices before it involved higher. That bullish consolidation, I mean, we've seen a retracement of a month or so. Bullish consolidation I'd expect to last 2 or 3 months, might take 6. So I'm looking for consolidation, and then in due course I'll be looking for a buy. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. All right, cheers.